Hello and welcome everybody to Three Things with JR, episode number 38. 38 things. Man, that seems like a lot of episodes. That's what I've been doing this year. I've been able to do a little bit of comedy out and about, but not a whole lot. And pretty early on, I decided I'm going to do a podcast. I've been wanting to do one for a while, and I did it, and it has been a lot of fun. I am thoroughly enjoying this. I'm going to keep doing it, especially when I see us hit milestones. We are celebrating a couple things today on this episode of Three Things. I just checked my stats, my podcast stats, which I look at just about every week. And it's always fun to look at them, especially when when there's something there of note. And we are just over 1,000 total plays, which in the world of podcasting, there are people that have many, many thousands of subscribers and thousands of people listen, sometimes millions of people listen to each episode of some very popular podcasts. So my numbers feel very small when I compare it to other podcasts. But when I figure just how little promotion I do for this show, which is basically nothing. I put a thing out on Facebook each week when I put a new episode out, and that's kind of it. So really, it's just kind of people that know me listening to this show, and we have just gone over 1,000 plays, 1,004 all-time plays, 1,004 plays of any one bit of any one episode counts as a listen or a play. So it's a fairly low bar, but it's a big number. It's 1,000 people, not 1,000 plays, not 1,000 people. On average, about 20 people listen to listen to each episode, and in the last 7 days, 21 separate, different, unique listeners. So with zero promotion, practically, I feel like these are great numbers. And I'm pretty happy with that. I would love it if you would tell people about my podcast. Tell anybody you know, share out on Facebook when I put an episode out. Tell others about it. Tell them that it's pretty wonderful just to hear a normal guy telling you whatever he's thinking about. Because that's all it is. It's just an everyman's podcast. So cool. Thank you so much for those of you out there listening. I appreciate it. We have another thing. You know, I've mentioned this on previous episodes, all of the different countries where people have listened to this show. And many of them I can explain. Like, I know people in these countries. Mostly it's, of course, the United States. But 2% of my audience is apparently in Ireland. I don't know why. My stepson is in Japan. I know somebody in El Salvador. The rest of these countries, I don't know people there. So they're somehow figuring out or somehow finding Three Things with JR and listening to it in India, Germany, Portugal, France, and Singapore. And in the United Kingdom. And we have one new country to add to the list, and it is Lithuania. Welcome, Lithuania, to Three Things with JR. I hope you're getting something cool out of this. I think it's awesome that you're listening, and spread the news. Tell everybody in Lithuania to take a listen to Three Things with JR. Get a slice of what life is like here in America, and there you go. So there's apparently Lithuania doesn't come up too much on the list of geographic locations where I have listeners. In the Anchor app. Anchor is the website I use to publish my podcast. And next to each country on this list, they have a flag, an icon for that country. So you can, so it's obvious what country you're looking at, right? It says the name and it shows the flag. Next to Lithuania, they must not have an icon for that one. It simply shows like the little thing you see when there's a picture that's supposed to be on a website, but the link is broken or something. It's that little broken picture link, and it simply says icon of Lithuania. So I take that to mean that I am an icon of Lithuania. I'm an icon in Lithuania. I don't know. I'm iconic in Lithuania. I like it. Either way, 1,004 listeners, and welcome to Lithuania, to the podcast. So there you go. Let's start. As far as top episodes go, it is there's 2 episodes that have more listens, about double the number of listens from most other episodes, and these are they're back-to-back episodes. Actually, one of them features a good friend and former coworker, Mark Connor. I call him Sparky, and the other one features my daughter, which is called A Day at the Lake, and those have over 40 plays each. So there you go. So those are still holding the top spots in episode listens. So before we get into 3 things, I'm sure if you've been listening to the last few episodes, you are fully aware that my father has come down with the COVID out there in the Midwest, in the northwest corner of Iowa, in a small town called Emmitsburg, my dad's hometown. He got the COVID a few weeks ago, got tested, was very sick, and was just trying to tough it out at home. Finally got to the point where we had to go to the hospital, and then from the smaller hospital to the bigger hospital. And on Thanksgiving Day, things were looking bleak. My sister and I had what we thought really could be the last conversation we were ever going to have with Dad. And that afternoon, he turned the corner, and we made the drive out there. We got to see him, and we spent a few days out there making sure his apartment was all in order, his affairs were in order, but he just continued to get better while we were there. And so we left and came home, but not until we knew for sure that the insurance was in place and that he was going to be able to move out of the bigger hospital back home to his hometown hospital, where he's going to be able to stay for a week or 2 while he rehabs, hopefully gets to a point where he doesn't need to use supplemental oxygen to be able to breathe. He's still using that a little bit, but nowhere near as much as he was a week and a half ago when he was in pretty bad shape. And to talk to him now, it's like he's back. His voice is back. He's strong. It's like Dad is fully back in personality, in attitude, and all of that. But he's just got a little ways to go as far as the whole oxygen thing and rehabbing his body, because he's been basically, very sick for like 3 weeks now. And well, he's got muscles to get going again, and he needs to be able to actually move around without getting totally winded and things like that. So he's still got a week or 2 of rehab, but Dad's doing pretty great. And Aubrey and me have both returned. We've been back now since late Thursday night, and it's currently Monday, December 7th as I record this. So we've been back for about 4 days. We have both gotten our COVID tests. We have tested negative. Neither of us are showing symptoms. Aubrey feels a little sick, but she'll be fine. Not COVID from what we can tell. None of those symptoms at all. She's just feeling a little under the weather. So yeah, it feels pretty good that Aubrey and me were able to go into the belly of the beast, one of the hottest spots for COVID in the country, the Midwest, and be there. We actually went into a COVID unit in a hospital and spent an hour in the room with my dad while he had COVID. We were very protected with gowns and masks and shields and gloves, and we came out of that, and we spent about another almost a week in Emmitsburg, Iowa, staying away from people for the most part. We very little time spent with family. When we were with them, we were wearing masks. We were not getting too close. We weren't hugging and kissing. We were staying very safe. We didn't want to get anybody there sick. And of course, we didn't want any of them to get us sick. And seems like we were able to do that and get back and not contract COVID. I guess we're not 100% out of the woods yet, right? It's been, only a few days since we left Iowa, but we feel like we were safe enough that we didn't really feel any more exposed to the disease, to COVID there than we did anywhere else, because we were being so safe. So there really is something to this whole wearing a mask, socially distancing, and just generally being safe. We were hand sanitizing every time we went in a place and came back out. I mean, we were doing everything we could to make sure we didn't bring back any Midwest COVID to the East Coast. So far we have been, we're feeling pretty good about things. So there you go. Be safe, people. Let's get into some things. Thing number one, road trips. It's been a while. I have been wanting to do a road trip all year. Basically, I love going on trips. I love driving. I love being on the road. And this year I got a new car, my Subaru Crosstrek. I call her Grenadine. I've been wanting to take this car on a trip for a while now. Iowa in November was not what I had in mind, but it was a road trip. So there's that. And this road trip was unlike most others. When typically a road trip for fun, we get to stop places. We're not necessarily in a huge hurry. This time we were kind of in a hurry. We wanted to get there quick, and when it was time to come home, there wasn't anything to do or see that we wanted to do or see. So we just got back as fast as possible. And Aubrey and I crushed it on the drive to and from Iowa. Specifically on the way back, man, we left Iowa at 7 o'clock in the morning, got back here at just before 2 a.m. Local time. You lose an hour coming back this way. And basically, Google Maps said it was going to take 18 and a half hours. We did it in just under 18 hours, like 17 hours and 50 minutes to be exact. And we did that by keeping a steady speed. If the speed limit was 70, I was hitting 75 on the cruise control, and basically very little traffic. Nothing really had to slow us down. Also, we only stopped 3 times. It's almost 1,200 miles from Emmitsburg, Iowa to my house. We stopped 3 times the entire way back. We were crushing it. Basically, roughly about 400 miles each time between stops. We drove all the way from Emmitsburg, Iowa to Peoria, Illinois before we did our first stop. That's about 6 hours in the car. We both, you didn't drink a lot of liquids, so we didn't have to pee a lot. We didn't have to stop for any just a pee break type of things. We only stopped when the car needed gas. And so 3 stops, no tickets, no issues, no mechanical difficulties, just crushed it. And I drove the entire time, all the way there, all the way back. And we listened to a podcast, we listened to music, we listened to a book on Audible, we listened to satellite radio. There was, for the first part of the drive out there was the most emotional part of the drive, because that was when we really feared the worst with Dad. And my sister Aubrey had a great suggestion. Hey, let's just listen to some golden oldies and think about Dad. And that's what we did. And it was very emotional there until we started getting calls that indicated he might be turning a corner and getting better. And so satellite radio was great. I think I might have mentioned this last week, but there you go. 50s and 60s on 6, 50s on 5. Just let them play. You don't have to think about what you're programming the music. But when we weren't doing that, when we were able to really think about stuff and relax a little bit, that's when Spotify came in handy. We were able to play specific songs, loving the podcasts, and a book on Audible. So good to have entertainment choices, and we had plenty. The new car did amazing. The adaptive cruise control in Grenadine, pretty awesome. Makes it very easy to stay in your lane and not run into the car in front of you, and speed up when the traffic speeds up and slow down when the traffic slows down. And you almost don't even have to touch the pedals. It will brake for you. It'll accelerate for you. It'll alert you. It'll even help you stay in your lane. Like, it's pretty great, and made highway driving just about as easy as possible. The car is quite comfortable, even for 18 hours in a car. And, just loved it. So good A+ for the Subaru Crosstrek. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Road trips, I love them. I probably am going to do another one here pretty soon as we get ready to move my mother from my house to her new place in Florida. And so that'll be a little bit different type of a road trip. A moving truck and a couple cars going down, and then I'll mosey my way back on the way back up here. And I won't be trying to set any land speed records coming back. I'm going to take my time and play some disc golf and just enjoy the road. And so, looking forward to that road trip. But road trips in general, man, I love them, and I want to do more of them. I'd like to do some on a motorcycle. We'll talk about that probably on some future episodes. But, being on the road. All right, so that's thing number one. We're going to do a commercial. We'll come back. We'll do things number 2 and 3. I'm also going to record a brand new a brand new advertisement for Anchor, just so it sounds more up to date. We've got the new microphone here, so the ad you're going to hear, first time it has been. I haven't even recorded it yet. I'm going to finish this recording, record a new Anchor ad. That's what you're going to hear. We'll be back in about a minute. Drum solo time. And we're back. I hope you liked the new Anchor ad. I haven't heard it yet because I haven't recorded it yet as I'm speaking right now. So you've heard it before I have, sort of. All right, thing number 2. This is the book that we were listening to on the way back from Iowa using Audible. At several people's recommendation, I went ahead and downloaded President Barack Obama's new book, A Promised Land. And it is a long book. I'm not even halfway through it yet, but boy, am I enjoying that. It makes me so happy to hear that man speak. He is smart. He's reflective. I feel he's pretty fair in his reflection on his history, his life, his ascendancy to power. I feel he's pretty objective, although he is a little biased. He's telling his own story. So there's probably times when he's painting a slightly rosier picture than maybe was reality. I don't know. It's hard to say. There's times when I feel like I want more detail from some of the stories. But for the most part, it is so refreshing to hear what it's like to be presidential, because we haven't heard what that's like in a while. We've been experiencing something else for these last 4 years that is less than presidential. And whether you agree or disagree with his politics, there's no denying the man is a man of integrity, that he's a good guy. And I just miss him. And I love how personal he gets in the book, talking about his wife, his family, his mother, his life at home, as well as, of course, being president. I'm at the point in the book where he has been elected, and we're about a month into his presidency, working on all the financial problems that he inherited and dealing with that stuff. And it makes me happy to hear Obama talk and be presidential. But when it's at this point of the book where I'm getting mad again, just because he makes it very clear that Mitch McConnell, John Boehner, the rest of the Republicans, basically 100% against working with him. If they could help it, they were not playing ball with President Obama. And it really made it tough for him to get some stuff done. And it just kind of makes you mad. And they're not the only ones. The Democrats, less likely to work with Republicans. And so, yeah, it's certainly a problem. Kind of sucks the way that government works or doesn't work right now. But at least we might be getting back to something presidential here in the very near future, and that's pretty awesome. All right, thing number 3. I was talking to my dad as he's recovering in the hospital, and he's been wearing these things for oxygen, a nasal cannula. It's one of those things that sits around your ears and goes down around your nose. It's got 2 little things that go up your nose, your nostrils, and pumps air into you. And he used to be wearing a mask in addition to that. So he doesn't really need the mask anymore, but he still has that nasal cannula. And he said to me the other day that he figured something out that really helped him breathe easier. He's been working on proper breathing techniques, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and he's been finding that very difficult recently. And he was surprised that nobody thought to tell him this. None of the nurses, none of the doctors, nobody thought to tell Dad, hey, be a good idea to blow your nose. And it wasn't like he had a bunch of snot or, just like loose, liquidy snot building up. That wasn't the case at all. And it hadn't really occurred to him, to go in there, dig in with his pinky fingernail to pick his nose. Mainly because there's a nasal cannula in there, but finally he said, I'm going for it. And he described pulling out some of the nastiest longest, weirdly colored snot ever. It seemed like it sounded like it was a long brown snot booger worm type thing, and he said it felt amazing to get it out of there. It was like pulling out a piece of spaghetti, and he almost, knowing me as well as he knows me, he almost took a picture of it and sent it to me, but he didn't. I wish he had. That would have been cool to see. I would have preferred to even to see the video of that coming out, because I'm into that sort of thing, pimple popping, scab yanking, stuff like that. I love watching that. And yanking a big old brown spaghetti worm booger out of his nose would have been right up my alley. But alas, no video of that. But Dad is breathing better because of it. All right, that's episode number 38 of Three Things with JR. Thank you so much for listening. Please tell others, anybody you know of that might be interested in hearing a story about my dad's stringy boogers. That'd be great. And I'll see you next week. Drum solo time.